JK Molina. All right, let's get it. What is up, guys, and welcome to the very first episode of the Paper and Purpose podcast. I'm Ryan, and I absolutely hate the feeling of survival mode, the mode where you're living in a primal state of paycheck to paycheck, and I want to help as many people escape so they can live life to its full potential. In this podcast, I interview people who make, manage, and multiply money very well. I will talk to business moguls, Wi-Fi millionaires, CPAs, and anyone in between who has insights on how to better play the game of money. This is the podcast where I gather the gems and nuggets about money from the greatest minds I can find and help people escape survival mode. And today's guest for this first episode is a very special one. He is El Fantasma, which means the ghost for you gringos out there. He's your mom's favorite dude from Guatemala, and he's my friend, JK Molina. JK, what is up, brother?
What's up, everyone? Backstory is I actually met Ryan in Austin, so he's my friend in real life, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, for real. People kind of forget. We get lost in Twitter, Instagram, wherever you reside, and when you see people on the other side of a screen, it's actually nice to meet some people in real life. People are actually a lot cooler than the persona they give on social media too. So thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. You said we're gonna talk money, and I like talking about money, so let's go.
We'll get there. First, I want to tell people just a little bit about you. So you came to Austin for about a month. You're from Guatemala. Tell us about your time in Austin. What kind of perspectives did you have coming to the States for a little while and then returning back home?
Yeah, man. So I was born and raised in Guatemala as a Latino, and honestly, the U.S. was very different from home. It was very fast paced. That was the biggest one. Everybody was like so goal oriented. Everybody was like, how does this take me to where I want to be? I just felt that way. It was different from the Latino perspective, which is just doing things for the sake of it. That was doing things because something, right? So that was a big one. It was very fast paced. I actually didn't enjoy it that much. I actually like the slower pace, like going in the middle of nowhere and just working. That's what I actually enjoy. But definitely a huge perspective shift, and actually made me hungry because I thought I had money, and then I went to the US, and then I was like, okay, maybe not.
So to give some perspective, you went from making about $250 a month in Guatemala, correct, to making 5-figure months now. So what's it kind of feel like still having that same cost of living back in Guatemala and making much better internet money than what people are used to there? And for some perspective, I looked it up. The annual GDP in Guatemala is around 4,600 per year versus the States, which is around 60 grand. So just so people listening kind of have some insight into what the difference is there.
Yeah, it's hard. So actually, 2 weeks ago, we finally reached 6 figures a month in income. So we're at that point now. Thank God.
Crazy, brother.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff. But it was,
and you've built it in real life, so that's been really cool to see as a viewer.
Yeah,
it wasn't something that was just kind of behind the scenes, and then just after you had the success, popped out and said, "Hey, this is what we did."
Yeah, that was pretty cool because we built the thing on Twitter in real life, and we'll talk about that eventually.
Yeah,
but definitely a huge shift because everything's just cheap. Like Austin's expensive. Like it was really expensive, and it's just the little things, man. I could buy like a bag of mango, and it was like 75 cents of a dollar. In Austin, it was gonna be like what, like $5, $10,
yeah,
right? It's like expensive.
Yeah.
So that was a big one. It made me realize like it doesn't take much to buy your freedom, and so kind of opened up my risk tolerance, as in like whatever happens, I can buy mango for 75 cents. So I might as well take risks. So yeah, that was a big one.
So I don't want to dive too much into some things that people have already asked you about, but just tell people a little bit about what you do. Tell us about the ghostwriting. Tell us a little bit about Tweet Hunter. We can dig a little bit more into Tweet Hunter as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I started Twitter in 2020 in the middle of the lockdown stuff, and I was just kind of lost. Was making $250 a month just doing email marketing. Not even, well, a little bit of email marketing, a little bit of web design. Kind of did everything. I was a VA, right? Then I started it. Just long story short, I started ghostwriting for other people because I saw that you could ghostwrite for other guys, and they would pay like maybe $2,000 for you to write 5 tweets a day, because these people had like a huge personal brand. They just didn't have good writers. So if you wrote for them, you could get paid good money. So I started doing that. That's how I made my first like significant amount of money. like for me, right? Then I launched a course, and then I partnered up with these two French dudes, Thibaut and Thomas. These guys were great. They already had a SaaS, software as a service. It's a really nice product, which was all centered about Twitter growth. And I kind of built my account around audience building. Those were the topics I talked about. So what I did was ask for equity in exchange for becoming their marketing guy, became their marketing guy. And 1 year, 1 year in the making, maybe 1 year and 1 month, we're making around $100,000 a month, all Twitter, some ad spend, but yeah, it's actually been insane. I never thought this could reach that level, and yeah, man, just being
Stupid,
grateful.
man.
Those are the biggest ones at the moment. I just ghostwriting. I stopped ghostwriting. Now I do coaching, how to grow your own audience, and tweet hunter. That's all I do, baby. That's all.
So I want to tie in a point you made some months back talking about how money Twitter, which if people aren't familiar with money Twitter, you need to go dive into it if you're wanting to learn how to make money, learn new skills, just be around like-minded people that are hungry. You made a point that money Twitter needs to link up more with startup Twitter, and that's exactly what you guys did because they already had a good product in place, and you had the audience, and you combine the two, and it seems to have been a beautiful combination.
For sure. One well, maybe not a lot of people are familiar with what Money Twitter is, and it's not that much of a special club. Like anybody can walk in whenever they want to. It's just about following people, and that's it. Creating a Twitter account and following. That's Money Twitter. There you go. You're in.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much just a bunch of people on Twitter that just one day decided to just tweet out value for free. So if you see Instagram, you'll see a lot of, it's like girls, cars, vacations, food. Girls, cars, vacation, food. And that's like pretty much it. If you go on Money Twitter, which is just another way of saying following the right accounts, you'll find how to get to $10,000 a month, how to create a no-code startup, how to invest your first money and multiply it. So the cool thing about it is there's a lot of how-to and there's a lot of really cool information and just a lot of people you can sell and learn from, which are already rich. That's a pretty cool thing about Twitter. It's a huge network place. So that's why I started with it. And if you're obviously you're getting information about wealth, if you're like listening to this, Money Twitter is a good place to start just because there's so much information for free and it's already advanced information and it's usually the stuff people charge for. So I would definitely begin on Twitter and I would just go on Ryan's Twitter or my Twitter and see who do we follow and just straight up follow the same people.
Yep. How do you think Twitter evolved into what it is now? Because in the beginning, Twitter definitely was very much a, hey, I'm watching the game or going out with the boys or just people just tweeting one-off thoughts or whatever they were doing at the moment. How do you think it's evolved into what it is now? Or do you think it's just a matter of it being the echo chamber that we're in, just being much more growth driven?
Yeah, so I did join late. I joined in 2020, but I will say that it has something to do with the conciseness of the tweet. I don't think there's a limit to
Mm,
how long your Instagram post can be. And is there?
I think
Or
so.
it's like super long. If it
I think it'll
exists, it
eventually
has to be
cut you
like
off, but
super
there's some
long.
pretty long,
Yeah.
right?
But Twitter is you get 280 characters, right? Like you have to make a point in that. And the cool thing about it is network effects as well. So for example, let's say I comment on Ryan's post, right? If I comment on Ryan's post on Instagram, nobody really sees it. On Twitter, both of our audience see it, right? So this network effect that also leads to this community feeling, because people are actually really damn proud of belonging to Money Twitter. It's like, oh yeah, like Twitter's great. Like they actually have allegiance to the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that way on Instagram because there's not so much sense of community. It's really cool to just hop on Twitter and seeing all these friends and all these people just going together and actually killing it. So I guess community is a big part of it, and conciseness is the other big part of it.
So you've built up, like you said, whenever you met up with the two guys for Tweet Hunter, you had already kind of established yourself as somebody who knew how to grow community or grow their brand on Twitter, knew how to tweet well. How did you go from just tweeting a lot in the very beginning, tweeting a lot of different things, and finally finding your voice and realizing what you wanted to talk about on Twitter?
Yeah, I kind of worked back from the goal. So when I started out, I only had one thing, dude. I just wanted to make $10,000 a month. For me, that was it. I wanted to get that so bad. So there were a few ways to get there. There's a few transformative beliefs that happened along the way. One was that the thought process behind a $50, $500, and $5,000 purchase is pretty much the same, which is if you can make me more money, then of course I'll pay you whatever you ask for. Like, what's the easiest way for you to give me $1 is for me to give you $3, because then of course you'll give it to me. So then if you extrapolate that way, you can convince, let's say you sell a $20 course, and we talked about this on our hike, you could sell to 500 people, which is hard. But if you sold a $2,000 service, you only have to convince 5 people. So working back from the goal, I was like, which service can I offer that's expensive, that people will buy, and that I am, competent at? Turned out to be ghostwriting. So that's kind of how I went back to it. I worked back from the goal. I never thought about it, engagement or likes, because, and there's a new phrase I want to coin, likes ain't cash, right? So I wanted to go back from what do people actually pay for? What are they paying? And Twitter growth was a huge pain and a huge want because people didn't really figure it out. So I just went back from it. Like, I wish I could say because I wanted to change the world. It was really just money. But the best way to make money is to help other people make money. So I guess it kind of evolved in itself. I went through 7 different niches or like 11 different niches. It was so many. But back from it, I just realized that the quickest way to get to where I wanted to be was a service business. And I went back through, okay, what content should I make to get people interested on my service business? And I went from there.
Well, I think you started out really strong. You talked about how you got your first ghostwriting client, and how far after that did you release Bow and Arrow for the people that are familiar with that?
Oh, dude, like 20 days. Like,
that's what I thought, and I bought that, and I was thinking this is some good shit in here because it was the first, but besides Tej Dosa, it was like the first time I'd really been kind of introduced to swipe files, and I thought that was just such a genius thing to just kind of brainwash yourself with good content like that. And yeah, the fact that you already kind of had the confidence to put that out after only getting your first client like less than a month before that was awesome, man. I mean, that's just kind of the cool thing about Twitter, internet, whatever. You can just go ahead and kind of shoot your shot like that, and you did it and pulled it off, and the rest has kind of been history since that.
yeah, it's I did it like honestly. The reason why I did it, that was the timing. The course was already done like months before I even had the ghostwriting client. But if you're a like growth account talking about Twitter growth, and you're gonna sell like Twitter growth guide, that's what we in the business call a pyramid scheme, right? So, so that's not good. So I was like,
Yeah.
no, I made my money ghostwriting, which I did, and then I launched the course. But yeah, pretty much that. You made a good point on swipe files. I want to expand on that. That's that cool?
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So the reason, not reason, but people join Twitter. Let's say you're listening to this, you're like, yeah, let's go. And then you're like, okay, what should I tweet about? Well, the biggest thing you should tweet about is to realize who your target market is and like talk about those things. Like if you're selling SEO or if you're selling ghostwriting, look up the people who are already talking about SEO or ghostwriting on Twitter and listen to me very clearly on this. Just straight up copy the shit out of their tweets and just go hard on that. Like not plagiarize, right? But think about like what's the idea behind already viral tweets. And you're probably going to do well because Twitter is just saying one thing 1,000 different ways. So the reason why swipe files works so well, when you combine it with a defined niche, it's because you're copying stuff that already went viral. So it's probably going to work. That's why there's a reason why every Marvel movie is the exact same. Like there's this loser, they get powers, and then they get through like some ego boost, and then they lose, and then they win again, right? Because the formula works. Same thing with Twitter. Everything's just the same over and over again.
It seems you really love to dissect and analyze what really works on Twitter, and you have for a couple of years now. And it seems like you kind of cracked the code. You hear Naval talk about it. You hear a lot of different people talking about if you find something that you already love to do that other people think is work, then you've already won. And if you can find ways to make money off of it, then that's just the icing on the cake. And tell me about how you kind of fell in love with just dissecting tweets like that. Was that from, I know you kind of had like a marketing job before that where you kind of studied a little bit of psychology and stuff like that. Did it kind of stem from that, or did it stem from something else?
It's just it just kind of made money in the beginning. I was like,
Yeah.
because dude, like honestly, like I just did it because of the money. Like in the beginning,
Yeah.
I just had that, and you gotta see what you're good at and
Yeah.
where the money is. Well, okay, I'll tell you that story so it won't be a boring answer, right? So I saw this Lawrence King tweet, and I've said this before. I'm gonna say it quick, but
Go ahead.
Lawrence King posted once at Lawrence King, yo, shout out to my boy. So
Go.
he posted once about Gillette, so the razor company, and he sent out a tweet that said Gillette pays their social media manager $80,000 a year. Gillette has 130,000 followers. And if you see how many likes they have, dude, they have like 3 likes per post. They have like 4 likes per post. It's like actually not good. So he basically in my mind, I was like, okay, so how much would someone pay me if I wasn't bad at my job? And though another like mindset shift occurred to me was that if you ever feel like you're unqualified, there's people paying double the amount for a service half your quality. So that kind of gets rid of imposter syndrome because somebody out there is paying for bad information anyway. And even if your stuff isn't life changing, even if you got it from other people, it's probably going to change their life. So you're qualified to teach at any point. So yeah, I kind of rambled a little bit there, but it was because I understood that if you do what where the money already is, if you're yeah, go on that niche, and if actual idiots are making money, then what prevents you from making money? You know?
Right. No, I don't think you rambled, and I think you made a really good point, especially with the transition into the creator economy and everybody trying to do something on the internet to make money, which makes sense because you look at 2030, 2040, 2050, a couple decades down the road, as more automation comes in, this is where people are going to be focusing a lot of their time and effort in making money. So if you're a creator and you feel like you're just a couple steps ahead of somebody else, it makes sense for you to still teach those people that you're a couple steps ahead of. Even if you see all these other people several steps ahead of you, like you shouldn't feel like you don't have a voice or don't have something to say just because there's people ahead of you, because there's still something that you can teach. So
Oh, for sure,
I think I,
for
I
sure.
think you made a wonderful point there.
There's
So
I wanted to expand on one thing on there because
go
I think
ahead.
it's important. It's because you also know about stocks, right? So there's this guy Chris
Mm-hmm.
Johnson. Chris Johnson is
Mm-hmm.
for me the best money Twitter marketer. I think he like transcended above money Twitter. Like he's in his own different
Mm-hmm.
league now.
Yep.
So he might get a lot of criticism in a way because people say that his course doesn't teach you advanced stuff. He's not teaching you like the most peak stock analyzing stuff. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I don't invest in stocks, but you know what I mean.
No, I've
But
taken. I know exactly what you're talking about.
but so what? I mean, he's taking people who knew nothing to know something. So it's like it doesn't matter if you teach advanced stuff, you're changing someone's life anyway. Like if you see his testimonial, it's like, dude, like I made this money and things because I did
Mm-hmm.
that, I can now pay rent. Like
Yep.
how many people have you helped pay rent? You know, it's like
Exactly.
so it's like you can teach about anything because someone out there needs it. It doesn't matter if it's advanced or not. It's going to be advanced to them.
Yep. And that's the thing you talked about. The best way to make money is to make somebody else $3 and have them give you $1, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, that course was during its lifetime anywhere from $10 to $50, I want to say, for stock gems, and he sold millions of them. He sold like $2 or $3 million worth of that course.
Yeah.
And you think about all the hundreds of thousands of people he's put on, and all those people that have made $10,000 for themselves, $100,000 for themselves. If he's made this collective group of people 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million, he deserves to get that little cut of two, three, $4 million, whatever it is, from getting them in the game, showing people what he knew. And that's what the course was a investor or a beginner investor course to get you into the stock market. So it doesn't have to be just a crazy amount of information or super in depth for it to be worthwhile for somebody to come pay for. But yeah, you ask people whenever you ghostwrite for them or try to help them out what their ideal audience is. Like Chris Johnson's audience is definitely like who I would want as a creator, as a brand.
He did it right, dude.
Yeah,
The way he plays the man of the people card, I haven't seen anything like
yeah,
it. It's just so good.
yeah, yep, yeah. I think he still has it as his header on Instagram, but it was like if getting people out of the hood was a sport, you'd be LeBron James or something like that. Like it's so good. Like
Yeah,
you hear all the different all the different courses about how your bio needs to be. Like just being personable like that, I think is more effective than just putting like whatever your skill, whatever your service is. It's just better.
yeah,
But
he's got it down. I'd study him if I were anyone, really. He's really good.
yep. So I want to dig into your SaaS. Let's talk about Tweet Hunter a little bit. It just recently crossed $100,000 recurring revenue a month. I'm a subscriber to it. Incredible product. You just released a new feature yesterday, Tweet Predict, correct?
Yes, sir.
Or at least starting to roll it out.
Yeah, yeah,
You excited about it?
yeah, it's a cool thing. It's so the SaaS is pretty much um it's a like on the bare bones of it, what it does is helps you schedule tweets and like gives you tweet
Mm-hmm.
inspiration. That's what it does, like at the bones of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the way we marketed it was a little bit different because we saw a lot there's a lot of schedulers out there, and what they do is they push save time, right? That's their biggest one. Save time, schedule tweets. But in reality, like the mechanism which you fulfill the promise is not the same as the outcome from using that mechanism. And I'm going to say that better right now because I wasn't clear on
Mm-hmm.
that. But anyway, how you achieve it isn't as important as what you achieve. There you go. That's it.
Right.
So, for example, let's say you sell the stock market course, yours Christians. So what is really the mechanism of it is you're gonna download this app and invest in this whatever, and this is how you read. The outcome of it is you're gonna not be poor, like you're just gonna stop being broke, right? So our mechanism, yes, it was scheduling, but the outcome is you're gonna make more money and you're gonna grow faster. But because we focus on the outcome, I feel it just resonated with people a little bit more. So, for example, you joined in and you couldn't schedule a tweet. We were a scheduler that didn't let you schedule. You couldn't say anything before you actually went through the course where we taught you how to actually write tweets that are good. Because you're not here because you want to schedule. Like who gives a care? Who cares about that? You're here because you want to make more money and you want to save time and you want to grow faster. So when we focus on the actual outcome, instead of the mechanism, we just saw that our copy started converting a little bit better because we understood what people actually wanted. And I just feel like that philosophy is really useful. And I've used that with a lot of my coaching clients, for example. So I have a few fitness guys. And for example, their offer would be stuff like, I'm going to help you, I don't know, get to X% body fat. And then you're going to have a sustainable system in which you're going to live a healthy life. I'm like, no, okay. So just do me a favor and delete all that and just say, I'm going to get you a six pack because that's what people want, right? So stop selling mechanisms, start selling outcomes. I used to sell ghostwriting. So my first ghostwriting client paid me $700. My last ghostwriting client paid me $25,000. So what was the difference? It was in the packaging. One sold mechanism, the other sold outcome. The mechanism on the first one was, I'm going to write 5 tweets a day. I'm going to write a thread a week. And eventually you're going to grow. $700. The other one, I changed the offer, which is the outcome really. And I said, I'm going to get you 10,000 followers guaranteed. And someone in your network is probably going to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to you. And the guy was selling a $30,000 service. So I asked him, okay, so we only have to sell one to get you an ROI, right? It's like, yeah. Okay, so it's $25,000. You gonna go? Let's go. It's super easy, dude. Once you understand that, it's so easy. So, um, yeah, again, 200, why was it successful? In my opinion, was because we nailed two things, actually three. Traffic, because I have a lot of followers on Twitter and would run ads to it. That's like the least part of why it worked. The second part of the second most important part of why it worked was offer. We didn't sell scheduling. We sold how to make more money and grow faster, which is what actually people wanted. And I feel like the most important part of why it worked was market, because there was a lot of people buying growth guides, a lot of people buy schedulers. We didn't invent anything original. A lot of our features are actually taken from other schedulers. Like it's nothing new, dude. Like nothing is new. What we took was a market that was already printing, and we just drove more traffic and had a better offer than everyone else.
Mm. Yeah, y'all are killing it. So what's kind of I know you just hit 100K recurring revenue monthly. I know a million's on your mind. What's kind of end game for you aside from just monetary goals? Is it eventually selling Tweet Hunter? Is it eventually getting it to a certain amount of monthly income? What's kind of the long term vision for you? I know you have two other founders that have their own views on it too, which y'all probably have to kind of debate.
Yeah. So far, cash flow has actually been really good. Growth is
Yeah.
consistent. So I mean, at the beginning we're like, yeah, we're gonna sell this thing. Now it's just let's just grow this thing because cash flow is actually really good. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if the right investor comes in with the right pricing, then yeah, we'll let that go of the portfolio. We'll sell it. But for now, there's no reason to. Like it's growing really well. I like the trajectory of it. So for now, it's just growing, man. The other focus is just growing my coaching offer, which was a new one. Um, which is a new one. Yeah, I just launched a coaching offer. I had like I had like seven different offers. I had so many, and we talked about this. But then I trimmed it to like three or two really good ones, and I'm just going hard on those. But yeah, that's
Mm.
the future.
Shit, Elon might come and buy it eventually. He might just come and slap $100 million on the table. You
Hopefully,
just going
bro.
off the grid at that point?
I know, man. I like the game too much. I know, like,
Yeah.
dude. The cool thing right now I've been finding out is I've been having great success with the strategy of make your money online and buy cool stuff offline or invest it offline. So like houses or like places. I just find that to be a really cool combo, because you can buy access to uh, stuff people can't buy. You can buy houses, and I don't know, it's just fun. The offline world's starting to get more fun, but I just feel like I wouldn't have enjoyed it if I didn't get rich first. So that's why I have
Mm.
this like saying, get rich first and then figure it out second, which essentially means like get your active income up and then invest it.
That's actually leading me to something I wanted to piggyback off of. Alex Hormozy put out a thread about 2 weeks ago that I expanded on. He was talking about versus making 5 grand a month, living on three, and steadily investing 2 grand a month, which is kind of the standard advice that you hear from Warren Buffett, Tony Robbins, everybody else. Just go put it somewhere safe like the S&P 500, let it grow 10% a year, and build that up. He says instead, go invest that $2,000 into something like courses, books, mentors, whatever, to take you from the next level to go from that 5,000 a month up to $50,000 a month. Then once you're there, you still have a similar living expenses. So you've got 40,000 plus that can be set aside, can be invested, whatever. You're kind of at that point now. So what are you kind of looking at diversifying some of this cash flow you have going into? I know you talked about real estate recently. Anything else you're looking at?
Yo, dude,
Looking at
yeah,
the
I want to buy houses. Imagine buying just a house. And because the cool thing about the Guatemalan market is that nobody knows anything about online stuff, right? So everything's like so behind. Like the US is like 20
yeah,
years ahead or even more.
yeah.
So it's just like things that are basic in the US, like, oh, you need a funnel, then you need leads, and then you need a sales. Like they don't do that here, like at a good level at least. But since I'm assuming, and you might tell me if I'm wrong, but like people here are like people listening to this, they wanna just learn how to make more money, but they're like in the beginner phase, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like to expand on what Hormozy said if you want to.
I always want to talk Hormozy. I know you do too.
Yeah, I love Hormozy. That guy's great. So the thing about that statement I really like, and yeah, so some of my friends will tell me, dude, I have like $200. Like, where should I invest? Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Facebook. I'm like, dude, just invest it in the supermarket. I mean, you need to eat, right? so, so what would I do, right? And I made the mistake in the beginning. I feel like this was a mistake of investing in stuff from people like 10 steps ahead of me. 10 steps is like the most you can get ahead of me. Like, let's say that's the top, right? So like Elon, right? Elon's like the farthest entrepreneur ahead of me. And I don't read the Elon books and watch the Elon interviews. But realistically, like he's thinking in billions, right? And how to make $1 billion company, $1 trillion company. I'm just thinking, man, I just want 10K a month. So I wouldn't, I would actually advise against taking advice from people 10 steps ahead of you and taking advice from people 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. Who's making 20K a month? Who's making 10K a month or 5K a month? Just get advice from them, I feel like, because they know the path that Elon forgot. They know the path that Tony Robbins forgot. So in my case, in the beginning, was this guy, again, shout out on Twitter, Cold Email Wizard, at Blackhead Wizard with double D. I know the ad and everything, dude. He's great. But he's just showed me how to get clients, dude. And he wasn't, I mean, he's not a trillionaire, but he was way ahead of me, like 1 or 2 steps ahead of me. So I would actually take advice from those people instead of going super far. So, okay, you have the money. What coaching do you invest in? What course do you invest in? People who are 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. I would go with them instead of people way far.
Yeah, there's a ton of resources out there, and it's why every 17, 18-year-old I talk to that talks about their parents wanting to force them to go to college and everything right now, I'm just like, there's probably $100 course out there that could make you $100,000 this year, and you could just save your money.
Yeah.
What else other than cold email mastery have you taken, or what other books or any kind of supplemental education have you had in the last couple of years that have really influenced you and impacted how much money you make?
Yeah. The biggest one was obviously everything that Cold Email Wizard teaches. That was really bad. Not bad, but good. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. And Tej Dosa. So it's at Comedic Bizman. So Comedic Bizman on Twitter. The way
six-figure promotion.
Six-figure promotion. It's really good. And what I liked about that was it really simplified what it takes to make money, which was you just need traffic, you just need offers, and that's it. That's it. So what do I mean by that? Offer is something that's expensive that people are going to say yes to. For example, let's say I crafted an offer right here with Ryan, right? So let's say he had a $10,000 service, right? So what would it take him to make a $10,000 service? It'll be hard for anyone listening to this just give out 10 grand to anyone, right? So what would he have to do? What if he said, okay, what if you give me $10,000, and he has this special crypto and stock market investing skill. You give me $10,000 and I'm going to use that, and you get 100% profit. I only get paid once we make $50,000 from that investment. So you are either going to make $40,000 or you get your $10,000 back. You have like zero risk. The only risk is you stay where you are. It's like, fuck yeah, right? Like, of course you'll do it, right? Some other guys have this copywriting offer that says, okay, I'm going to take your conversion rate to 10%. And I don't get paid until you made more than my money than what I'm going to charge for. So that way, you give me my money once you've already made it. And that funnel keeps converting out with you at a higher price. So the marketing world is full of these offers that are just no-brainers, that are easy to say yes to. It's like, okay, what if you just give me this cash and I'll do your email marketing, and if it doesn't work, I'll just give you your money back, or I'll just give you $100 on top, or $1,000 on top, or I just pay for it, whatever, right? It's like, of course you'll get it. So when I understood offers, which is Alex Ramos's book, $1 in Kindle. So if you're listening to this, there's like no excuse to not buy it. $100 million offers. Once I understood offers, and once I understood traffic, which is essentially just putting the most amount of eyes on that offer, then everything changed, because I saw it as a numbers game. It's like your ugly friend at a party. Like, he goes to talk to 100 girls. Eventually, one is going to say yes, right? It's like it's a numbers game, dude. Imagine if you weren't ugly, right? So imagine if you had a good offer and you talked to 100 people. Somebody's going to say yes. So when I understood how simple the game is, it just changed everything. So it was a combination of Cold Email Wizard, Tesh Dosa, Comedic Bizman, and Alex Ramosi.
Which is, you could get all of that for less than $500 versus, I don't know what an English degree is costing nowadays, but it's not $500.
Yeah, dude. Hormozi is $1.
Yeah. That's kind of what I've been thinking. I really don't know how the college business model kind of plays out in the next 10, 20 years, because people are kind of seeing through the cost for what return you're getting there. It's just kind of crazy. And my kind of thinking on it is you get a piece of paper, but you aren't really guaranteed the skills with a lot of different degrees. You certainly have to go that way if you want to go make a doctor, a lawyer, whatever. But some of these other, like I wasted a lot of money on a business degree. I was 18 once. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. So that was the route I went. Can't take it back. But
Is
just kind of seeing through it, it's going to eventually collapse, I feel like.
is a big part of your audience college students that want to drop out?
I try to talk to them. I think there probably is a few out there. It's probably a percentage, maybe 5, 10, 15%.
Oh, okay.
What were you went to college for a little bit, right?
I did, yeah. I dropped out of third
Yeah.
year. Yeah,
What message do you have for kids either in college or debating college?
so I was really stubborn in the beginning, saying that no, no, like my parents, like I don't need college. Okay, so if you don't need
Hmm.
college, why are you not making money on your own? That's like what their parents are thinking, what your
Mm,
parents are thinking now. And your parents are going to make decisions for you, not so much like because they want to limit you, but because they love you so much, they don't know how to control it. So they'll give you the safest choice because they don't know any better. That's
mm.
why growing up, they give you cereal in the morning instead of eggs because they just thought that was the best thing for you, although they didn't know better, right? So they're not taking decisions out of spite or because they don't want the best for you. They love you so much they don't know how to control it. And I have this phrase: your parents will always think that your online business is stupid, but then you pay their bills. So what I would do is just make a shit ton of money and then say, hey guys, we're actually better off by me dropping out. So what? So just make your online cash. Like if you're so smart as you think you are, and you probably are because you don't need like incredible levels to make it online. Why don't you make your money and then drop out? Like use all that energy and all that anger that you have inside of you to start that client business because that for me that is the easiest way to 5 to 10K a month. Start that business, get that money, and tell your parents, hey, we don't miss it. And by the way, I'm gonna be start paying for gas, which on 2022 that's a big deal. And I'm and I'm gonna start paying for like the light and the water and electricity and stuff. And then you'll be fine, right? And that's what I would do. Because if you're smart, you should be able to figure out.
Yeah. So that's actually a good digression for me. You actually had talked about giving your parents an allowance. That's something you're doing currently, right?
Yeah, I give them an allowance and double if they work out 3 times a week.
Are they sticking to the working out?
You bet.
You haven't got your dad rolling with you yet, have you? You brought him do a little jujitsu?
Oh, no, no, he's not into jiu-jitsu. He's into weight training though.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask, what's the most impactful thing you've done with money? Is that it?
the most impactful thing I've done with money. So far, no, because I'm like in that way I'm very selfish. I would like so the thing about and this kind of goes down to Latino culture. There's this like very Latino kind belief that I didn't find in Americans that winning is very selfish and that your win doesn't count if your entire community, friends, and your aunt's daughter's friend doesn't win as well. So that's a very Latino thing, and I really got like ripped off out of it. Like I really didn't like it. And so my thing is I want to save people near me, like the people I actually care about, and I don't really care about other people. So I haven't made many impactful things on the world. I've made very impactful things for the people I care about. So for
Right.
example, my family, right? They've all lost weight. Some they're living in some other house. I People ask me, "Do you live with your parents?" I'm like, "No, my parents live with me because I have an apartment. They live with me now, which is in a better place in town. By the way, Guatemala is super cheap, so that's good. Like, and for me, the biggest one actually was helping my friends out. Like my really close friends from high school, they saw what I was doing. And like I explained to them, okay, this is how client businesses work. This is how cold outreach works. This is how sales templates work. And for me, just saying that, dude, like I made my month's salary writing tweets. Like for me, that's huge. For me, that's incredibly huge. Like I'll give you an example, dude. So one of my friends is an architect. He's about to graduate as an architect. And there was this rumor, and I'm not shitting you. There was this rumor going around that college that if you got a master's degree on a certain architect field, you could make the ground total of $2,400 a month. And everybody was losing their shit. It's like, oh my God, you could make $2,400 a month. And my friend just, like, he calls me, right? He's like, dude, I make that writing 5 tweets a day. What the fuck's going on? I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that is, for me, that was huge. Just helping my very inner circle and my family, that's very big to me. I don't care about changing the world. I care
Yeah.
about changing the people near to me.
You talked about, I think it was Danny Miranda's podcast. You talked about going to Italy with your grandma. Have you scheduled that?
Fucking visa bullshit, dude. I can't because I need to order that thing.
Okay.
I need to
Well,
get things in order. But yeah, someday.
I just wanted to bring it back up. I know it was a dream of yours, so I wanted to bring it up if you hadn't done it, because I know those are the things that really matter. I want to get to a point where I go on a week trip with my mom, dad, and sister every year, and that's just kind of been a dream of mine for a while. Just get away, spend some quality time with them, because I live in Austin now, so I'm 6 hours away from them. So aside from the holidays and a couple other times I can step out through the year, you just don't get to see them near as much as you do living with them, and that's just kind of the double-edged sword of moving off and seeing something different. So
where would you go?
Where would I go? We've already all planned it. First trip with my sister is going to be a week in New York. Me and mom are probably going down to New Orleans and just going to put on 10 pounds. And me and dad, well, me and my dad talked about going to California. That's where me and my wife honeymooned last year. I don't know, because they're actually about to go on an anniversary trip out there. My dad's kind of like a woodchuck. Like, he loves trees. He's been cutting trees since he was like 11, 12 years old. So like, he just appreciates stuff like that. They're about to go out there, but we'd probably make another trip out to California and see the redwoods and sequoias and stuff like that.
That's some good stuff, man.
Yeah. Let's pivot. So you talk about training everything. What all things are you training right now?
Training everything. Oh, I love that topic.
Yeah.
Tomas Lobo,
Yeah.
El Lobo Salvaje on Twitter. Like, that guy made it. So the train everything mindset comes around. You just need to be competent in everything, like business, seduction, entrepreneurship, just making, just writing, reading, philosophy, arithmetic, computers, combat, everything. You should be good at everything, because like, once you learn one thing, you'll see that other things relate to other things. For example, representing jiu-jitsu. So for example, jiu-jitsu has really helped me with business. An example, jiu-jitsu is all about leverage and finding positions in which brute strength isn't the best way to go about it. So my biggest take from it sometimes has been, if you're in a position and you want to get out of it, it doesn't have to suck. It doesn't have to be hard. If you're somewhere where it's like really bad, maybe you're one or two moves away. Maybe you're one high leverage move away from changing everything, right? And it applies to other things. For example, with women, right? What do women actually really hate is needy men. What do prospects really hate? Needy sellers. So if you don't need the deal, you will get the deal. If you don't need the girl, you'll get the girl. So the thing about training everything is to see how everything actually relates to each other. So far, I'm actually trying to reduce the things I'm training, but actually do it better. So it's business, relationships, because I do realize I need friends. I don't have many friends. So business, relationships, combat, and fitness. Those are the biggest ones for me right now. And in spirituality. And the cool thing is, dude, like, it's like, people say like, oh, it's too much. It's like, it's really not. It's really not, like, because everything kind of extrapolates one another. Because let's say you work out, right? Suddenly, dude, you have way better energy. You have way more mental clarity to make more money in business. And then you make the money. Then you have more time. Money equals time, right? If you spend it wisely. And then, maybe you can meditate. If you meditate, it's going to make you calmer, which is going to make you a better fighter. If you become a better fighter, you're going to become more confident, and that'll show in your relationships and in your business, stuff like that. So the cool thing about training everything is that everything relates to each other. You just become better, like, as a whole. which is
Mm,
something I really enjoy. I got it from Lobo, by the way. I take zero credit from it. Everything's from Lobo. I just copied it.
yeah. What's kind of your view on balance in life? So a friend of mine, Billy Croyt, shout out to him. He said that say you have all of your different pillars in life, health, wealth, relationships, spirituality, all on like a wheel chart. You can either choose to have a big wheel, so you're making a lot of money, you've got a really good social life, whatever. You can have a big wheel, or you can have a round wheel, which basically means you have balance. Like everything's kind of in order, but nothing's really exceptional. What's kind of your take on that, or spin off of that balance versus like excelling in one or two pillars in life?
Oh, dude, that's so big. I don't,
Yeah.
I'm still figuring that one out. But the one thing I will say is I like to maximize the things that give me energy. So if the thing about balance, maybe, and I'm gonna try to weave out a thought I haven't really
Mm-hmm.
articulated well, but
Mm-hmm.
the good thing about balance is it implies on the statement that there is a limited amount, like that there is only 100% of stuff you can invest in. So it's 33, 33, 33. I don't really like to do it that way because I feel like it's limiting. Instead, I've tried to optimize to do the things that fill me up with energy. So, for example, like my business, working out, reading, meditating, spending time with friends and family. So, I don't see it so much as balance in which your energy is limited. I see it much more as energy creation in which your energy is unlimited. So my thing about work-life balance is I think you're asking the wrong question. I think you should be asking, what should I do that gives me energy? And focus on that.
Mm. That's so true. I think a lot of life really is kind of harvesting energy and then just deploying it in the right way. Like if you're, I truly don't understand it to the fullness of its capacity, but Nikola Tesla, when he talks about if you want to understand the world better, think of it in terms of energy frequencies. And he says one more thing, but it's so true.
Yeah.
If you're constantly in a frequency of thinking about what's going on in the world, what's wrong with the world, what's going on in politics, da 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 da, you aren't going to operate from a place where you're going to create anything meaningful, where you're going to be able to actually enjoy the time that you're spending. But if you're just thinking about growth, thinking about how you can improve yourself, thinking about your relationships, thinking about the things that actually matter, you're actually going to operate from a place where you can actually have a much better impact within your own life and on those around you. So
Yeah.
don't know where I was going with that, but just kind of the tangent I want to go on that.
That's cool. You're not limited. You don't have a limited amount of energy. You have unlimited. So you might as well get the most out of it and then just focus on the activities that do that. Like, yeah. I don't want to expand more on
Do you
that.
have no? Do you have any kind of personal KPIs or personal habits that you try to make sure you do every day, or try to hit in a week, or anything like that to keep you on track with the things that matter to you right now?
For me, if I put on like maybe 2 or 3 hours of like work without checking notifications, and I did some sort of exercise, then for me that's it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because then I just got the biggest things done, and then I do whatever I want. So I get my work done usually at like 11 a.m. I don't work a lot. So I
Mm.
get everything done and then I do whatever I want. For me, those are the KPIs. Did you do at that day the focused work? And did you get some movement in? And eventually
Yeah.
everything kind of sorts itself out. I'm not a fan of these big productivity systems. Uh, just wake up, do what needs to be done, and then don't check your phone. And when you get tired of it, just do it tomorrow. And that's it. Do whatever you want for the rest of the day. For me, that's the biggest system that has worked. And I mean, have a goal. I have two, like right above my laptop right here. I have two goals. And then I just see them every day and I'm like, what can I do today within the 2 to 3 hours of focus work that I have to get to that point? And then I know that eventually it'll sort itself out. I saw a good example by Lobo on a podcast. Well, I heard it, which is, you know how if you want to ship like from America to the UK, like the ship doesn't go in a straight line, right? Like the ship zigzags. It goes up and like it zigzags. But if you zoom out, you are gonna see a straight line. So I see myself kind of in that way. Someday it'll go this way, someday I'll work less, someday I'll work more. But eventually, if you zoom out, you'll see that it's a straight line directly to the goals. Like it might take me a while more, but I'll eventually get there. And another big belief that I really got this year was if you're not going to stick to it for at least 5 years, there's really no point in doing it because you're going to rush. You're going to fuck it up. So go slow, put a little bit of consistency every day, and eventually the zigzag line will straighten itself out.
Hmm. Can you talk about what your two goals are on the wall?
Yeah, so one is 200, 500,000 MRR, and the other one is 100 members on my coaching program.
Hmm.
So I see
You
it.
just started the coaching program, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I do want to plug somebody. I think y'all have interacted once before. Somebody that I thought of immediately when I saw your offer. I just went and listened to it earlier. Ian Dunlap, the master investor. He's probably one of the smartest minds in the investing space, and his monthly member or his yearly membership is 10 grand. So I mean, he's a high ticket offer, and I think you should drop him a cold DM, cold whatever, and I think y'all would make some magic together.
Yeah, for sure. What's the name again?
It's underscore on Twitter. It's underscore master investor. It's Ian Dunlap, but he's mixed in with the Earn Your Leisure Crew, another really great investing brand. But he's just made some stupid calls, man. And I mean stupid in the best way. Like he sees things months and years in advance of what everybody else sees in the market, and that's why he charges such a high ticket price for his Red Panda Club. So I think with your expertise on Twitter, he already has like 50,000 followers on Twitter, but he spends most of his time doing podcasts and video work. But I think if y'all went in on Twitter, you could probably make bukus of money together. So
Appreciate it.
just thought I'd link that up. So what do you think gets y'all from 100,000 to 1,000,000? Not to discredit how far y'all have already
No,
came. I mean,
yeah.
it's already crazy.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
Not sure how to answer that because, yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm allowed to discuss it either.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fair. Just thought I'd ask. What's kind of your goal with the coaching program? Are you wanting to have any kind of like a cohort type deal, or is it going to be like 100 clients at once that you're trying to help, or how does that even work for you scale wise?
Yeah, it is ongoing. And the cool thing is it doesn't require much of my time. That's a cool thing.
Yeah.
Because, and I launched a coaching program before, which was not good because there weren't like expectations from the clients. I never told them
Mm.
like this is what you need to do. Now I do. I spend half my time on the damn contract. I said if you
Yeah.
don't fill this up, then we can't guarantee results, and it's not going to work.
Mm.
But now it's pretty cool, man. The thing about it is most of the things I've done has just been straight up copying other people. Courses were famous on Twitter. I launched a course, and then SAAS was famous on Twitter. I launched a SAAS, and then this coaching program isn't new. Like this is old too. Like everybody did the same coaching program. I just straight
Mm.
up copied it. So I'm I don't like. I guess the point I want to make here is that it. I know it's going to work because I'm copying other people who already did it at scale. And if you're not sure where to go, just copy other people because you don't need to figure it out. It's already been figured out for you. You just need execution.
So for the people starting out, I'm going to butcher the quote or exact tweet, but you said something along the lines of whenever you're trying to get your service, product, whatever out there, to tell little white lies and then do everything you can to execute, or something along those lines. Can you kind of expand on that, or what you think people should go about to get off the ground with whatever their service business is?
Yeah, get the money first and then figure it out.
Yeah.
Uh, the original tweet was you need to make white lies about your ability to execute, get the money, and then execute like a madman until the white lies are no longer lies.
Mm.
That was like kind of the original tweet. But essentially, and I learned this in my first job, you're selling air. So you promise a result, and then they'll give you the money to get that result, and then you just incur ridiculous amount of stress and caffeine to like deliver it. The cool thing about it is you only have to do it once. Because once you figure it out once, then you just repeat. And you already have testimonials and case studies. You already have proof that your stuff works. That's the biggest one. Like if you're selling a service, just promise the world and then figure out how to deliver it. And if you don't deliver it, and here's the other cool part, there is no risk to you, because the worst thing that could happen is you just give them the money back. And then it's like you're right where you started plus the experience. So you never really lost anything. Your reputation is still intact. And then you repeat. You promise the world again. What happens if you can't deliver? Then you give them their money back. Eventually, you learn how to deliver. You learn the ins and outs of the business. And one day, you're going to have a legitimate client. You're going to have a legitimate process. And you already did more than the guy that figured out how to craft the perfect service and never really delivered. Like, the world is full of imperfect services. So just go out there and sell your imperfect service. And if it doesn't work, give the money back. You never lost anything. Like, realistically, there's like no consequences for a lot of things. Like, there's like, what's the consequence? People thinking another like mindset shift. It's asymmetric gains versus like loss. So, for example, one of the things I love to do, like absolutely adore doing, and you know this, Ryan, I just love talking to girls at cafes or bookshops. I just absolutely love it. It's so much fun. So,
Very little downside.
oh, exactly. That is the point. My friends are like, dude, like how? It's like, okay, so you go up and say hi, right? So that's all you do. So what happens if it goes well? Well, then congratulations, dude. You have a girlfriend, and she'll like give you props because you actually did what other guys don't. What happens if she doesn't reciprocate? You're right where you started. Nothing happened. Like, I've never seen like a group, like even if you're friends and some dude goes talk to a girl and the girl rejects him, I've never seen the friends have less respect for the friend that went there. Never. So what happens in business? You promise something, you went to talk to the guy, you got in a call. Let's say he said yes, but then you had to give the money back. You didn't lose shit. In fact, you gain experience. What if you get him on a call and he says no? Well, then you maybe you lost like 30 minutes of work, maybe you lost an hour, maybe it could even be weeks of work, dude. My first deal, I worked a year and a half to make $1,500. It was fucking miserable, dude. It was fucking bad. And I worked hard to get it, and it was bad. But what I gained experience, because that's what set me off for the 25K purchase, right? So I just feel like in my brain, I just see no loss. I just see no risk because there isn't any. When it comes to the stock market and crypto, of course, there's some. But your stuff is like, full, dude, your life is full of asymmetric risks and gains. Like, let's say you go and, I don't know, you talk to the girl. You could get a girlfriend, dude. That could be your wife. You could have 10 kids. And what was the other side of the coin? Oh, maybe she just didn't want to give you her number. That's it. You're gonna start a business. What's the downside? Maybe you'll get embarrassed a little bit and you won't like it. What's the upside? You win forever, everything, for your entire legacy. So why not do it? Because there is realistically no risk. All your enemies are inside your head. They're not real.
JK, good shit, man. I know we're coming up on an hour. Can I hit you with a couple rapid fire questions and we'll wrap it up, man?
Yeah, for sure.
So, if you could have a message out to the world on a gigantic billboard, somewhere where a billion people are going to see it, what's one thing that you'd get out to the world? Maybe it's a tweet. Maybe it's a favorite quote. What would you tell everybody?
Oh, man, that's a good one.
I stole it from Tim Ferriss. Thank you.
Oh, there you go. Good stuff. see how like Ryan and me were both stealing our way into like stuff because it just works. Mine would be train everything.
Train everything,
Yeah,
baby.
just be good at everything.
When you're stressed out or like unfocused, what do you do to reset yourself or get your feet back under you?
Movement. So it's walking or working out. And the biggest one is anxiety comes a lot from screen exposure. So for example, I have two phones. One where I have everything, and the other one that's an actual piece of garbage. Like, it's actually really bad. It only has Spotify because that's what I use for the gym. I don't check my phone before noon. And I believe that actually has led to happiness. So if I'm ever feeling down or in a rut, it's probably because of too much screen usage and it's dopamine overexposure. So I would just try to walk or just sleep. Just get away from screens because I do believe your phone is your enemy. So yeah.
Yep. How has a failure or a parent failure set you up for later success? Or put another way, do you have a favorite failure of yours?
Mm. Oh man, there's a few. There's a bunch.
I'm sorry, I had
No,
to go digging in the attic there,
yeah, that is a
having to uncover some boxes.
yeah. Holy shit. There's I guess first breakup was hard when I
Yeah.
was like 17 or 18.
Mm.
It was I don't know, man. I just realized that everything could be taken away from me, and like right around the breakup, I had a really bad relationship with my dad at the time, and I was like super fat. I lost like 45 pounds. And one day he's just walking around the house and he just looks at me. It's like, oh, so you got quite a belly now, huh, son? I'm like,
Mm.
oh God. So the breakup and hearing that, so I just completely changed everything. I was just like,
Mm.
okay. That and I just realized I was fucking broke, dude. Like, what am I gonna achieve? Like, my ego is like not founded on anything because I was way more arrogant without the money and without like the fit body. And I was like, where does this come from? Like, it has no foundation on anything. So I feel those like ego hits that came like through the years, that was hard.
Mm. Mm. JK, I've taken enough of your time, man. It's been a pleasure having you on. I could talk to you for hours, man. Tell people where they can find you. Tell people what you're working on. Plug whatever you want.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me at on the biggest place is Twitter at one JK Molina, ONE JK Molina. And yeah, man. So if I sell this, I have a coaching offer. If you have a service over $5,000 that's already proven, I can make an extra $200,000 a year. And if you don't get a complete ROI within 3 months, I'll just give you all your money back. And you get to keep the audience. So if you want that, let me know. I'll just make you more money. You're going to pay anything. And yeah, thank you for being here. Everybody follow Ryan. Everybody follow the well homie stuff. Met this guy. He's actually like a really good soul. I was when he asked about the failure, you know what I was thinking about, the problem I talked to you about at the river.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, I can't say that here, but he actually gave me some solid advice that actually helped. And he's a genuine good guy, and I hope actually hope that you listen to him because he's got nothing but good intentions from his heart.
Damn. Well, JK, you've done a lot more for me than I've done for you, man. So I'm forever grateful. Always rooting for you, bro. You're an incredible inspiration to me. Keep going, man. Train everything.
Train everything, guys. Talk soon.
Take care, brother.